During the full moon live, I had this immense headache, but I promised I'd be back with the full video, so here we go. As we are in a moon wobble, when the sun is the mediator, the middle point between the opposition between the north node, the collective future where we're growing towards, and the south node, the collective point of undoing, where we take our lessons and blessings out of so we can grow. And the sun is at 22 degrees, if I'm correct, the north node and south node too, and 22 degrees is the Capricorn degree, which is all about our legacy, our reputation, and how we will be remembered. Even though you have a plan, breadcrumb it, take baby steps, because you don't want to go out and show all of your cards immediately, right? So be okay with the delay, which we are going to talk about in this upcoming video, as we're going to have this mid-eclipse check-in. How are you doing? How have you been doing? And how are we going to do this upcoming summer? Because we're in Gemini season, and you may have heard me say before, Gemini season is where the energy collects to start rising again. As the energetic degree, the critical degree, the last degree of Gemini, 29 degrees, is the full expression of that sign, but also the lowest point in an average birth chart where we take Aries as the first house. So from that point on, in every birth chart, we go on to the world axis, the beginning of the fourth house, and in this instance, the beginning of summertime in Cancer. And at that point, the energy starts rising again, because as you can see, the sun starts rising from this point on. And the opposite is the same too. Off at the last degree of Sagittarius, 29 degrees, energetic degree, critical degree, full expression of Sagittarius, that spreader of enthusiasm, as we're going off to the world axis, 0 degrees, starting wintertime on the northern hemisphere and summertime on the southern hemisphere, on 0 degrees in Capricorn, and the energy is lowering again. So collectively, we may feel that the energy is starting to rise again, starting from this full moon in Sagittarius. But we are also experiencing that moon wobble. So we may feel like change is around the corner. We may feel like we need to make hasty decisions and stuff. You don't need to do anything. Take your time as you are letting things go, doing things in a new way in this number 9 year with the nodes in mutable signs. So change, be flexible, be agile, adaptable. And summer solstice, you may have heard me say also that this is the youngest you'll be at this point, because from here on out, you're only getting older. Just note that, as this summer solstice is quite a real one, like I said, not just because the nodes are in mutable signs, but also because it's a number 9 year. In Chinese astrology, it's a year of the snake. It's all coming together to tell you it's time for change. And who doesn't like change? We're going to talk about it a little. But we're going to talk about these outer planets especially, because like I have also noted, these outer planets are actually following Pluto. Because more than a year ago, Pluto in its retrograde went back into Capricorn. And just to adjust, just to see, are these really things that I'm going to let go? Are these really things that I can take on with me? Again, that energetic degree, that critical degree of that sign. And Capricorn is all about the legacy, what you leave behind, your reputation, your name, your public life. How do you want to do that? So Pluto went back for a second. Pluto all about empowerment, transforming, healing, things we don't necessarily want to do in the light. But like I've also said, you don't know if it works if you keep it inside. You need to bring it outside. Do also know that Pluto is in its fallen position in Aquarius. Doesn't like it over there. We'd rather transform and heal ourselves and alchemize whatever in the dark inside for us. But yeah, we're living in a time for the collective, so let's get into it. As all these other outer planets except for Jupiter are also going back in the sign they're in, and they were previously in their retrograde this year, and going to fully enter the next sign, and we have to fully commit. But how can we fully commit if things are not clear? Things only become clear if you breadcrumb test it. And let's talk about it right now. We're going to start with Neptune because I always start with Aries and I want to start with Pisces and go back with all the ruling planets. So Neptune will be moving retrograde from the 4th of July until the 10th of December. Starting on 2 degrees in Aries, it will go back on that 0 degrees in Aries, that world axis, because it not just starts the season of springtime, it also starts a whole new year. So it's a very critical degree over there. And Aries, that ball of fire, starts action, does things. But luckily, these planets are moving retrograde. Neptune, dominant phrase, I dream. Are these really your dreams? Are you really not lost in a haze, lost in a daze, distracted by the glitz and the glamour? Because it's moving retrograde back until the 29th degree of Pisces. And it's not just the feel of the full expression of Pisces, because all these signs take lessons, take blessings, take whatever. And in Pisces, it's all coming together to say, okay, this is actually the person I desire to be. Well, I not desire to be, I aspire to be. This is the higher self I want to align with. This is what I dream of when I'm talking about a righteous and a person with integrity. That's all Pisces and stuff. After they come out of that self-victimizing behavior, but that's something you go through. Either way, in springtime, Neptune, we're going to talk about this with Mercury, because Mercury has been in a conjunction with Neptune 3 times in its retrograde. But Neptune has also been in a conjunction with the Sun, who I am, I dream, I believe, I am, and in a conjunction with Venus. I dream, I believe, I value, I love. And like I say, conjunctions, end of an old cycle, beginning of a new cycle. But if you are not specific, how can others be specific to you? How can others be specific for you? As we're going off to summertime, give it form, make routines, give it something to be seen. Pisces, if you don't define it, someone else will do it for you. Like someone took Rick Ross's story and became Rick Ross. Do not let yourself be the victim this time, because as Neptune really enters Aries, it's really going to get real. So everything from the 30th of March until now, until this whole springtime, that's what we can expect with those 10 to 12 years. Well, we're already with those 10 years with Neptune in Aries. We're really going to make those dreams tangible, going to do something with it. And this is not the first time you've heard me say this. Remember your season? Either way, let's go off to my homie Uranus. I haven't talked about Uranus too much because really not in too many aspects. Yeah, right now maybe with Mars, which just moved a little. But Uranus, the planet of evolution, in its fallen position of Taurus, that fixed earth, Uranus likes to change, shake things up, adjust. Taurus doesn't like to change, keep it stable, keep it secure. So we may go off to that peak of this planet in detriment, as Taurus is that fixed earth, Uranus shaking that fixed earth up, about your value in self, about the security you have outside of yourself, maybe like with work or income, the value you see in yourself. Because I'm not going to lie, these last few months I've been thinking, okay, you may be working in this field, but how are you still growing? Or are you just staying in that field, like specializing? And at the end of the day, let's say AI will be taking your job, what will you be left with? The ability to watch out of the window? Either way, past springtime, trust your ideas because you have grown with them. You have grown so much. You have gone through so much time, and times keep changing. Things keep changing. If it's not this crisis, it's that recession. If it's not that recession, it's this pandemic. All these things are coming to kind of attack our security. But how are you sturdy against it? How can you, whatever. In summertime, good or bad, it is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. Uranus will be moving retrograde from September 6th until February 4th. And on September 6th, it will be moving retrograde on 1 degree in Gemini, back until 27 degrees in Taurus. So back on over that 29 degrees in Taurus, that critical degree, energetic degree in Taurus, that full expression of this is my word, this is what I have, and this is how I'm going to evolve with it, revolutionize with it, invent with it. But also be secure about the people you are expressing it with, as Uranus will be coming into a conjunction with Venus inevitably. And Venus, not just your ruling planet, but also the ruling planet of Libra. Taurus is about the material, the tangible, but amazing that it's worth something to you. But what is it to your relationships? What is it to your people? You also need to have something valuable to others. And trust your ideas. You have grown with them, good or bad, it is what it is. Because remember, Aquarius rising, you give people something new and they can't behave with it. You give them the internet, can't behave with it. You give them like public transportation, these loaning scooters, can't behave with it. You give them free or cheap knowledge, can't behave with it. It is what it is, it ain't what it ain't. Maybe change your way, stop being so rigid and stubborn. Amazing that you value it, but the next person may not. And do note that this is in your 4th house, by the way, Aquarius rising, in your 4th house of home life and comfort zone. I find that quite funny because Scorpio rising also has that thing in their 4th house of comfort zone and home life and fixed signs. Fixed signs don't like change. Well, get comfortable with it, buddy, because these things are gonna last a minute. As Uranus stays in a sign for 7 years. Off to Saturn for our Capricorn risings. Aquarius, remember, some things will never change. Aquarius rising, Saturn, your ruling planet, will be moving retrograde on the 13th of July until the 28th of November. From 1 degree in Aries, so finally left that energetic degree, that not the energetic, the world axis, the full 0 degrees beginning of the whole zodiac chart. But we'll be moving back until 25 degrees in Pisces, that fully evolved Aries degree. So it's not just being greedy, being never greedy. Always very righteous, not self-righteous, righteous. But it's not that they're greedy, they're egotistical, they're selfish, they're thinking about themselves. But at the end of the day, thinking about themselves for the majority, for the bigger picture. In Pisces, which is all about unity and oneness and the bigger picture. But Saturn moving back on that world axis again in springtime has been in a conjunction with Venus, and Venus is about the things that we love, the things that we value, the things that we find beautiful. And Saturn, your ruling planet, Capricorn, is all about, again, the legacy, the public life, how you show up in public. But Saturn is bringing delays to that end of an old cycle and beginning of a new cycle with Venus, because do remember, number 9 year, time to let things go. So even though you do value it, take the time, Saturn, Father, time to define your value. Remember, springtime is a time for personal development. Summertime is a time for personal outings. If you do not remember, watch the houses video. Either way, as we're off to summertime, take a leap of faith and trust in your new course. It's a new course. You haven't blazed this trail yet. And where Aries is that natural leader, Capricorn is just the leader. Not natural, it's just the leader. So someone has to take the lead. Someone, Capricorn rising, has to be like the first Gothic politician. There already has been one, but remember during Halloween I did this mini reading for, I'm going to do mini readings again, but during Halloween I did this mini reading for a quite alternative girl, and she's like, I don't know if I can express myself, my beauty, what I find beautiful, what I find worth in the career which I would like to follow. Oh no, not the flies again. Either way, in the career I'd like to follow it, you value it, and someone has to start. Again, Saturn been in a conjunction with Pluto, also coming into that first sextile with Pluto again. If you really believe it, if you really want to achieve it, if you really want to Saturn build it, you have to start with the foundation. And a whole lot of ruins have been done, like Pluto in Capricorn. A whole lot of old structures have been brought down, but the ruins still have to be cleared so you can fully show who you are, show up how you are in public. Someone has to start, and I think I've told you before, get into the basics so you can become a little more relatable, maybe? Relatable, less scary? Either way, it's time for personal outings. Go out with it. Now you have developed, I hope. Oh, we're still there. But off to Jupiter for our Sagittarius risings. Jupiter will be moving retrograde on the 11th of November until the 11th of March, from 25 degrees in Cancer until 15 degrees in Cancer. Do what you will. But note that right here, right now, Jupiter in Cancer will be on the world axis. It's a big one. But we'll be on the world axis of the of summer, 0 degrees in Cancer. Cancer's all about how you nurture things, and over there it entered with Mercury. Do remember that? And yeah, Mercury, ruler of Gemini, and it was on the anaretic degree of Gemini, not the world axis. It was on the red. Calm down. Because over there on that anaretic degree with Gemini, it started that square conversation. We've talked about this. That starting square with Saturn and Neptune on 28 degrees in Gemini. Luckily had that conversation, aspects or conversation on the critical degree of Gemini. So fully evolved, this is how I fully express. And if I am going to be a little bit wise about it, maybe I shouldn't pay my attention over there. Maybe I shouldn't get distracted by this over there. And someone else's distraction, maybe your someone else's trash, maybe your cash. Someone else may say, oh, it's distracting being on the internet the whole time. But did you know? A lot of people get motivated by those motivation videos, right? And a lot of those videos are like sampled by AI. Those are like accounts from like 12-year-olds who are like just putting a book in ChatGPT, making a whole course out of it, just doing the internet work out of it. And a lot of people, well, the elders were always like, oh, the internet and the computer, it's not good for you. Those same elders are now like, oh, I need my motivation before, or else I cannot stand up, I cannot wake up. Someone else's distraction, maybe your passion, whatever. I'm trying to make it rhyme, but oh, sorry, because in past springtime it was in a final square with the sun, as it will be coming in a conjunction with the sun shortly, but that final square with the sun, so kind of like that last quarter. And what do we say with last quarters? Time to let go in order to grow. So some people may say, this is distraction, this is not good for you, you should shut up. Because Sagittarius, what's your dominant phrase? I see. It's your perspective, it's your vision, it's your life. And others may say, oh, you're a little tactless, you're like running around like a chicken without a head. Because they're not running the course, you're running the course. And maybe you need to be a chicken without a head. So do your thing, honey. As we're off to in springtime, that last quarter, let go in order to grow. And then again, that starting square with Neptune and Saturn, we also talked about this. And again, the delays are okay, are bueno. At least we're starting. Baby steps, we're getting there. But luckily we had this conversation like, do not spend your time, your energy, your attention over there. Your energy spreads enthusiasm. Those people don't deserve you. Let's talk, come to me to Cancer thingy when I talk about the moon, yeah, but let's go to summertime for Jupiter. What can we expect at conjunction with the sun on 3 degrees, the 3rd, 4th day of Cancer season. 3 degrees, Gemini degree, baby Gemini degree. And you know what it is with Gemini? Easy to distract because they're easily bored. But boredom is okay. With boredom, you can notice, like, okay, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, or I'm procrastinating here or there, whatever. We'll also be in conjunction with Venus on 14 degrees, end of an old cycle, beginning of a new cycle, and it's all about self value. 14 degrees, Taurus degree in Cancer. I have the responsibility to nurture over whatever it is that you value. And do note, I have been talking about this, like it's because for Sagittarius in your 8th house of desires and stuff, and if your desires are a little wonky, I don't want this again. So you fix yourself so we can. Either way, I talk about it's not your business, it's not your child, it's not your family. And at some point, it does become your business. It does become your family because it's yours. But you know what? I'm going to save this for Cancer. Either way, Sagittarius, that what you focus on becomes your reality. So please do not focus on the BS because I don't want it. Please? Thank you. Let's go to Pluto for our Scorpio risings. Moving retrograde until October, the only planet moving retrograde right now. And retrogrades, remember, are time to re-evaluate, re-evolve, re-dream, re-achieve, reassess your achievements, realign with what you believe in, your fate, what you want, what you're dreaming of, rethink. But Pluto, empower, re-empower. What is it that you want to empower yourself over? Because some things aren't really that you can empower yourself over, right? Because you feel like weak, or you feel like you're not one of them, or they're too far ahead of you. Just know, I'm going a really weird way right now, but you're closer to the people on TikTok who are like, I've never worked and my parents never worked because we're so rich. You're closer to them than the people who are making you feel powerless. So you are capable of a lot. But we're going to talk about it in a little bit. And also, please do note, Scorpio risings, you used to be ruled by Mars. So until the end. Sorry. But in springtime, 3 times is a charm. Because listen, this was before springtime though. On the 3rd of November 2024, on the 3rd of January, and on the 27th of April, Mars was in an opposition with Pluto, moving retrograde towards its fallen sign again, so back in those emotions and forward into the energy again, into that fire, into this is what I'm doing it for. So it went into that fire, back again into the water, and starting reigniting that fire again. Be sure about the things that you want to start. Be sure about the things that you want to do. And this is why I actually say try and keep a journal. And if it's not a journal, do you keep Google Maps, and does it know where you were on the 3rd of January, on the 3rd of November? Do you have like Google Photos? This is why my hair, like in this season it's like this, in this season it's like this, and maybe it has that color, so I know it was that year, that month over there, and I was feeling like journal in your own way, be your own, kind of unique. But 3 times a charm. Realign the subconscious motivation. Changing course is okay. Changing what you're doing it for is okay. We all do it, and it happens to the best of us. But I know Scorpio has the power of the emotional intensity. Maybe you don't want to do it again because it was for someone else. What are you doing it for? What are you motivated by? Who is igniting you? And I was talking about realign with the subconscious motivation because Pluto, your ruling planet, is also moving in your 4th house. 1st house, 2nd house, 3rd house, 4th house. I can count. Either way, 4th house is not just home life, family, comfort zone, inside, but it's also where the Emun Coli lies, the darkest point of the heaven, which represents our subconscious motivation. Are you aligned with your subconscious motivation again? This is what I'm going to do it for, especially as it came out of Capricorn. Everyone's like, oh, legacy, and I need to have this and that. And no, you don't. And if you feel like you want to be there, you're closer, but not that much closer. You're just more in a target. And do you want to be that? No. That's why we don't really talk about our stuff online, right? That's why we keep it towards us, so you don't become a target for others. Either way, what are you doing it for? Realign with your subconscious motivation. And in summertime, you must, because we'll have an opposition. Not a lot happening, right, with Pluto, but we'll have an opposition with Mercury, I think. Maybe even 2 times, doubt it, because it's moving retrograde in Leo. Opposition with the Sun. So that peak of a cycle, that peak of a moment, are you really transforming towards what you said that you were going to do, what you said that you were going to build, what you are desiring? I hope you're okay, especially with Lilith over there in Scorpio, like that scorned woman. If I don't get what I want, I'ma hate the ones who have. If it works for you. But, and in an opposition with Venus. If it's not working, it's not working. Either way, change your ways accordingly. You fixin'. Again, fix doesn't really like to change things, doesn't really like to change courses, because you have invested so much and it took so much. It maybe hurt a lot, or what it took a lot. Not necessarily hurt or something, but you know what the beauty is of your deep and emotional bonds? You're not bound to one person or one cause in particularly other than your own. And when you're in the way, there are a lot of other people heading the same way. But you have to move. I understand it may have hurt, you may have been traumatized, you may have been like, oh, never again. But yeah, it's the life you live in. You can't change it. Let's go to our Leo risings and talk about the Sun. The Sun past springtime, a time for personal development again. Just remember, Rome wasn't built in one day, honey, and there may be a whole lot of delay with Saturn over there in Aries. So Aries wants to start things, and Saturn's like, hold up, wait a minute. Do you have cement? What? Cement? Father Time is making you spend time. And what does Leo not really like? Well, not that they don't like it, but they can't really handle it. Well, depending on your aspects though. Time. All of a sudden, not spontaneously. And now I have to be ready. Well, Rome wasn't built in one day. And so you can also take your time to define. Again, we're not going to talk about it too much, as in summertime, time for personal outings. This is a good time to get serious. A new round for the Sun. Because again, this is where we start rising again. The youngest you'll be. And then you're only getting older and wiser, hopefully. And maybe take more risks at the right place and be more... do whatever. Oh. Let me not get ahead of myself. Leo rising, throw a funeral if necessary, you dramatic witch. But remember, it's a number 9 year. Number 9, let things go. Don't make it hard. Don't be dramatic about it, or be. Now's the time. No. I'm not very dramatic, but whatever. Let's talk about the moon for our Cancer risings. Past springtime, we had new moons, new moon, new me, time for action. From Libra, the sign of relationships, until Cancer, the sign of the home life, the comfort zone inside you. And that fly though, where you had full moons from Aries, the self, the body, how you present yourself in your 10th house, towards full moons towards your 7th house in Capricorn, about the legacy and your reputation and your name. Assess in this mutable year of change and all that stuff. Cancer doesn't really like change, sticks a lot to the past, also has invested quite a lot of emotions and energy. And do I want to go through it again? Eventually, how many kids do you have? How many kids do you want? Either way, you'll go through it again if you really want it. But assess, are these people the ones you can thrive with? Because this is what I wanted to say. I say it's your family, it's your business, it's your, and what is your, because of course I have a family, but remember when I had the job with the car and I could share the car with my family. And that does not mean my blood family, my brother or my mother. That means my family, the ones I marry, the ones I give life to, the ones I produce, what I produce and what I nurture. It should not be that I care for my mother, I do not nurture her. Because when I tell her, you have to be home in 10 minutes, I care. It's not nurture. You tell your kids have to be home in 10 minutes. But are these the people you can do that with? Or are you drifting off like, oh shoot? Either way, in summertime, we're going off to the radicalization of the cangrejos. It's coming. I'm not going to say too much because again, Cancer doesn't like it, Moon doesn't like being in the spotlight, but just look at Lilith and all her aspects and then you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Mercury, Gemini and Virgo risings. Mercury, springtime. Checking in outside of yourself will not clear things up, will not clear anything up until you look inside of yourself. You have to check in on yourself because 3 times in conjunction with Mercury. So first, I think the first one was, I know, the first one was in Pisces. Okay, I think I dreamed conscious, subconscious in a conjunction. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I dream about. This is what I'm going to bring to the conscience, bring to the light. Going back, probably also in Pisces, and again that last degree. So really making these big dreams, big Leo degree, big, exaggerate, full expression. So probably over there in a conjunction, and then starting again in Aries. That conjunction, beginning of a new cycle in with Neptune, I dream about starting who I am, reality, bring to the world, presenting to the world. And I think about it and want to run with it. But I know in summertime, moving retrograde in Leo again. Leo has the power of the persona. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But you have to check inside of yourself instead of outside of yourself. Because remember, Mercury travels with the sun. So the sun is the I am. You have to check in with yourself, who you are, how do you feel, how do you express yourself. And then we come back to those retrogrades 3 times a year. So those 3 times like in a conjunction, inside to go outside. That's where it starts. Either way, summertime, retrograde in Leo, the persona. How do you express yourself in alignment with your subconscious? If you are thinking to yourself, okay, I am too cold, why would you not be wearing a jacket? If you're thinking to yourself, I'm hot, why would you make a glass of tea for yourself? Act in alignment with your subconscious. To feel real, to feel true, to feel Gemini rising. Listen, you don't have to make a fool or a gimmick of yourself to shine. Your intellect needs substance, or your intellect already has substance, but you're not bringing it to the surface. Whatever substance you have, remember what I said about Mercury? Well, not I said, the thing that I read about Mercury in Gemini. Knows a lot about nothing. No, knows a little about a lot of things, so actually you're kind of worthless. No, you're not worthless. You have a lot of substance, but you go deeper, go further. And if you can't, just say so. You don't have to make like a whole show, a whole gimmick, like a distraction, like swindle them. You don't have to. I think I kind of packaged that in the short I made for Gemini. When woman, right, whatever. Virgo rising. Get in tune with you. There is a block button for everything because your routine makes your algorithm, your surrounding. It's what you pay attention to, what becomes your reality, what becomes your surrounding. So if you keep paying attention towards this, block it if you don't like it. There's a block button for everything if you look at the right place. It's not just people. It's not just internet, it's also for people, it's also for places, it's also for things. But you have to be selective and sometimes you have to put a little bit of effort in those things. Check in with yourself first. Virgo, Mercury rules the guts. Gemini rules the logic. Think about those things, analyze those things, and make it work for you. And yeah, also Virgo, ruler of the sixth house, how you are of service to others and work. Listen, I was talking about chronotypes the other day with a friend of mine, and chronotypes, we know we have like morning people and evening people, but there are also two others. We have evolved, we have analyzed, so now we have the statistics. We have morning people, we have people who start in the afternoon, we have people who need to nap to get extra energy, and we have evening people, nighttime people. If you know you are not a 9 to 5 person because you like to stay up late, maybe check out night shifts. And if it's not working for you yet, maybe put in the real effort. Yeah, I think you haven't really tried if you're not there yet. And if you're a 9 to 5 person, why are you working night shifts? You have skills. You have something you can bring to the table, but you have not been serious enough about it. Analyze you, what you want, how you feel, how you can thrive with whatever it is that you have. It's not bad being someone who needs to take a nap, but be at places where you can take a nap. As we're going off to Venus for our Taurus and Libra risings, we'll be moving retrograde from its detriment sign of Scorpio back to its second home sign of Libra in 2026. So don't worry about it. We have a whole, in springtime, Venus, a whole lot of doubtful endings and steady starts. Because conjunctions, end of an old cycle, beginning of a new cycle with the Sun, our vitality, Saturn, our achievements, Neptune, our dreams, our beliefs, North Node, collective, where we're going towards. And these are all just in Pisces. Because as it entered its detriment sign of Aries, it was in a conjunction with Neptune. Again, yeah, because of retrograde, right? And with Chiron, the wounded healer. And do remember what I said about Chiron, that wounded healer. Just because something happened does not mean you cannot use it as a diving board. It's a bad baby, with a story. You don't have your baggage just to say, I have baggage. Do something with it. Make it functional, make it practical. Either way, are you really going to wait on the right people to start with your course? We can't see you, we can't find you if it isn't real, if it isn't true, if it isn't tangible, if we can't see it. Again, that conjunction with Neptune. Be real, be steady. What is it that you want? What is it that you don't want? Again, I also said it about manifesting, expansion, Jupiter. Oh, I want expansion. And what? Trouble? Trouble? Like Taylor Swift said. Either way, in summertime, change isn't scary, it's thrilling, and a reminder of the fact that you're alive, capable and alive. We'll be in a opposition with Lilith. Lilith, that scorned woman in Scorpio, those shared possessions, those shared values. Okay, you have this, you value this, and whatever, but it takes two to tango in this world. You're not on your own. Venus, not just the ruler of Taurus, moving from its first house to its second house this summer, but also the ruler of Libra. Taurus is the material, Libra is the people. It's great that you see value in this, but who are the people who also see value in this? It's great that you have a lot of people around you, but do you also value the same things? So at the end of the day, when we're like, okay, collectively jump, you're collectively in it and not on your own. Taurus rising. Either way, summer times are times to go out and start socializing. Again, Venus moves from home sign to home sign in this upcoming summertime. If you build it, they will come. Because as it's moving through Taurus, it will also be in a conjunction with Uranus. And not just a conjunction with Uranus, a conjunction with Uranus on 29 degrees. The energetic degree, the critical degree of Taurus. Taurus is all about possessions. Again, the tangible possessions, the not so tangible possessions. I have this voice, I have this knowledge. It's very valuable. If the internet falls out, I got you. Either way, critical degree. What are these things you have? How are you going to evolve with it? And what do you value necessarily about it? What can you take out of it which others can also value? I may be very well at filing my nails. Good for me. I cannot help you with it. I can help anyone with it. But it's good for me. And so, summertime, go out, socialize, talk to people. Maybe you do find people who are like very well nail fighters. United. Libra rising. If another could, you would say they should. And they would. But it's not their place. And as diplomatic and fair as you are, if you'd say to another, you'd say to yourself, you could, so you should. When is the time that you would start, initiate, to, well, maybe perfect it, give yourself the time, give yourself the grace, but are you gonna do it? Or are you still being wishy-washy, like, well, maybe I do not deserve, your name is the only one that's written down. It's not about what you deserve, it's about what you're used to. And you're used to being put in the spotlight to mediate something, so go and take a spotlight. In this revolution, we need everyone. We need followers, we need leaders, we need people who shut up, we need everyone. Oh, I should stop sitting like this. Oh, but then you see me like this. Anyway, yeah, go out, do something this summertime. As we're going off to our last sign, Aries, always first, and now you're last, because we're going to talk about Mars. Past springtime, it came out of its retrograde in its fallen position of Cancer. Cancer is all about the emotions, right? Starts emotional bonds, and Mars is just about starting action in Aries, but now the emotions are coming with it. Do not take these lessons for granted. You'll need them someday anyway. Someday. But out of its fallen position, exiting the comfort zone, okay, this is how you should be going on with your emotions from now on. Into fire, gaining energy again to distribute practicality in your own way. I don't know in which house this was falling for you, that Mars retrograde in Cancer. Either way, this summertime, take those retrograde lessons towards its detriment. Because as Mars is traveling towards its detriment sign, well, through its detriment sign at the end of summer, it will be in the 8th house of your desires. How are you going to reach your desires on your own? Because did you just hear me say it takes two to tango? You cannot get there on your own in this world made for two, in this world full of duality. So, traveling through the 6th house of practicality, through the 7th house of relationships, but it takes two to tango. And how can you rebuild without Lilith, that scorned woman? I see someone else having my desires, and now I want them because I want it too. How are you gonna get there? Are you gonna be kind? You get more bees with honey than with vinegar. So be kind, be sweet. Try and be sweet, and take those lessons you have gained from the retrograde emotions. Not just your emotions, other people have emotions too. And what kind of impact do you actually have on them? It's not bad that Lilith is like your motivation, but don't let Lilith be your motivation. Again, that subconscious motivation for Scorpio rising, that subconscious motivation, and that conscious motivation. Aries has nothing to do with Pluto, but where you're listening, you have two kinds of motivations, and Mars is kind of like that conscious motivation. I am hurt right here, right now. I stubbed my toe, so yell. And Pluto is that subconscious motivation. I stub my toe here every Wednesday, and I do not know what it is, but I'm gonna cut it. Do something, that inner urge that says I'm going to do something with it, really take action with it. But your emotions are very valid. What you do with them is not, though. Not every time. I cannot help you with that. But Aries, listen. Your ruling planet is moving retrograde in 2027 again. We already talked about this, but we didn't say it is moving retrograde from Virgo, the practical sign, 10 degrees, the Capricorn degree, back to Leo, the 20th degree, the Scorpio degree. So let's say Capricorn degree in Virgo, I not just adjust, I distribute skill, and I'm practical in this way. This is how people remember me, for being practical and distributing. Back to Leo, rethinking how you express yourself on 20 degrees when it comes to your desires. Toxic. I am not liking Aries these days. Aries rising sun, I am not. But if you can, try and get into the daily laws of Robert Greene, but especially the month of June, as it's all about kind of like marketing yourself. And that's a way to learn how you impact others for better or for worse. And especially with that South Node in Virgo, where Mars will definitely be crossing over. So how you act, how is it helping you? How is it tilting you? Have I said what I wanted to say? Because I remembered I forgot something. No, I didn't. Tjallas and good luck with it. Tijdens de live sessie heb ik beloofd dat ik terug zou komen met een volledige video. Dus ik zou zeggen, here we go. Terwijl we aan zijn gekomen bij de maanwiebel. Wanneer de zon de bemiddelaar wordt en het middelpunt is tussen de oppositie, tussen de noordknoop, de collectieve toekomst waar we naartoe gaan groeien, en de zuidknoop, de collectieve comfortzone waar we onze lessen en zegeningen uithalen zodat we kunnen gaan groeien. En als ik het goed heb, staan de knopen en de zon op 22 graden. 22 graden de geëvolueerde steenbokgraad. En de steenbok gaat over onze reputatie, nalatenschap, hoe we herinnerd worden, onze naam, hoe we in het publiek leven staan. En de zon, onze vitaliteit, wat willen we er daadwerkelijk mee gaan doen? Een maanwiebel, dat gebeurt dus wanneer de maan een beetje wiebelig is. En de maan gaat over onze gemoedstoestanden, emoties. We kunnen ons een beetje onzeker, instabiel, labiel,